A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I want A+. English, that's so much fun. English education for you and everyone, so come along. Learn some grammar, learn a phrase, learn something new every day. Learn the A+ way. Hey, it's time to start the show. Are you ready? Good, 'cause here we go. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I want A+ English.
Hi everyone, and welcome back to A+ English. I'm Pat.
I'm Elsie.
And today we're on part 2 of our story article, Dear Mr. Henshaw. Yesterday we found out that a boy called Lee was writing to a famous author, his favorite author, for homework, for just to say your books are great, but then they start writing and asking questions. Lee's getting help with being a writer, but he's also writing about kind of his life, his school, his family. And that leads on to what we're going to talk about today. And so does this warm-up question. What are your parents' jobs?
So for me, my mom has been a housewife since she got married with my dad.
Okay.
And my dad used to be a doctor, but he's retired now.
Yeah, same answer for my dad. He was a doctor and is now retired. What kind of doctor?
An orthopedist.
Okay, that's
Bone doctor.
Bone doctor. My dad was, in the UK we call it a GP, general practice. So he's the family doctor that you go and see. And if you've got a more complicated problem, he'll send you off to a hospital or a specialist like your dad to say, I think you've got a bone problem. Go and see Mr. Ma and he'll talk to you. So my mum, she was a university lecturer. So kind of teacher, then up to lecturer. And that is our parents, but what about Lee's parents? Let's read through day 2 and find out.
Dear Mr. Henshaw, warm-up question. What are your parents' jobs?
Lee and his mother live in California, U.S. They moved to a new city after his parents' divorce. Lee's mother works for a catering business. So Lee often has delicious food in his lunch bag. Lee's father is a truck driver and spends lots of time on the road. Lee feels lonely and misses his father a lot. His father seldom calls or visits. Mr. Henshaw tells Lee to start writing in a diary. This helps him understand his thoughts better. Lee just started at a new school and doesn't have any friends yet. Also, a thief keeps stealing food out of his lunch bag. Lee needs this to stop.
So we know Lee's parents are going to be important to day 2 of this story. And we start off with his mum. We see Lee and his mother live in California, US.
Lee 和他的妈妈住在美国的加州。
Okay, so that's where they live, but it's not where they have always lived. We see in the article they moved to a new city after his parents' divorce.
OK, 那我们这边先看到动词 move， 我们来学一下关于它的意思还有用法吧。Move 这个动词呢，在课文当中指的是搬家、搬迁，所以呢，当我们说 move to a new place， 那就是搬到一个新的地方，也可以说 move in 或 move out 来表示搬离或是搬入某处。So for example, she didn't want to live with that horrible man, so she moved out. 她不想跟那可怕糟糕的人住在一起，所以她搬出去了。那要搬家，你会需要搬家工人，是 movers。那搬家工人他们是属于搬家公司派来的，所以搬家公司叫什么呢？ A moving company。那单字例句给的是As a child, I moved from Taiwan to Canada. 还是孩子的时候，我从台湾搬到了加拿大。
So you could also say, I moved to Taipei in 2008, or more accurately, I moved to what was then Taipei County.
台北县。
Yeah, now it's Xinbei, of course, New
现在是
Taipei.
Yes.
I moved from there to Taipei in 2012.
2012.
There we go.
Okay, so after his parents' divorce, they moved to a new city. Divorce 这边当名词用，代表离婚。
Yes, the official breakup of a marriage. It can be a noun, they had a divorce. It could be a verb, they are divorcing, she is divorcing him, and so on. After the divorce, Mary looked after the couple's children. So his parents have split up. That's obviously a big and very terrible thing in a child's life if it happens. Unfortunately, it does. But there you go. So we see in the article now, and this relates back to the jobs of our warm-up question, Lee's mother works for a catering business.
Catering 这边指的是餐饮业，所以 Lee 的妈妈她是在餐饮业工作。
Yeah, this is a company that provides food. They could make the food, present the food. Maybe they either cook it and send it, or they could cook it at the place. They provide sometimes the staff who do the waiting and things like that. You would hire them for maybe a big business occasion. But the most often one, here's an example. We hired a catering business to provide food for our wedding. Sometimes the hotel or wherever you go has one. Sometimes you just pay the catering and hire a different place. And so you're sort of doing two jobs.
也就是会提供食物到你的派对啦、婚礼啦、
Exactly.
考试等等之类的场合。
So his mum works for this catering company. We don't know right now if she's a cook or a manager or whatever, but what we do know is that so, meaning because of this, Lee often has delicious food in his lunch bag.
So 这边放在句首后面加上逗点，可以带出结果。因为妈妈在餐饮业服务，所以我们的 Lee 他常常有很好吃的食物在他的 lunch bag、午餐袋里头。
Yeah, we've given something and we're giving now a conclusion or something that happens because of the first thing. There was a lot of rain yesterday, so the ground was very wet when I went outside this morning. And we say he often has great food. Not always, but often.
没错，这个 often 或是 often 频率副词代表的是常常，那还有像是 always 总是 usually 好也是通常经常 sometimes 有时候，还有就是 seldom rarely 很少几乎没有，最后就是 never 从来不。那这些频率副词的用法，我们先进到 Magic Box 听讲师讲解咯。
Magic Box.
I have always been planning to catch Peter Pan. 自从彼得潘害我切断了我的手之后，我就一直处心积虑的想抓住他。那个小屁孩真是太可恶了，竟然害我堂堂海盗船长变成了 Hook 船长。君子报仇3年不晚，我总有一天一定会报仇的啦。像是呢，我总是在计划，你有时候会打网球，他偶尔会去图书馆，总是有时候偶尔。中文里面很多这种在讲事情发生的频率的词汇，英文里面也有相对应的一票单字咯，它们呢就叫做频率副词。比方说我刚刚说呢 ，I have always been planning， 我一直以来总是在计划，已经好一段时间了。这里的 always 就是频率副词的一个。在认识有哪些频率副词之前，我们先了解一下频率副词怎么使用。你只要记得呢，在句子里面呢，它的位置呢是在一般动词之前、be 动词以及助动词之后就可以啦。比方说刚刚说呢，你们下课平常都是打篮球，但是有时候会打网球。You usually play basketball.You sometimes play tennis. 我们呢就放在打球的动词 play 的前面哦。那打完球之后呢，你们总是很饿哦。You are always hungry after a game. 我们呢就放在 be 动词的之后，这个呢就是频率副词在句子里面的位置啦。现在呢，我们知道了在句子里面怎么使用，接下来呢，就来看看有哪一些频率副词吧。刚刚看过了 ，always 就是总是100%一定会发生的。比方说我 Hook 船长每天起床呢都要优雅的来一杯咖啡哦。 I always have a cup of coffee in the morning. 少一点点发声的呢，你就可以说 usually 时常。I usually have my coffee with milk. 我通常呢会加牛奶，但是呢可能一个礼拜里面有1-2天是没有加牛奶的，喝黑咖啡了。I often read the newspaper while drinking my coffee. 我在喝咖啡的时候呢，经常呢会读一下报纸。经常呢，我们就用这个字 often， 就表示呢10次里面大概有6次会这样做。那再少一点呢，我们就可以使用 sometimes。sometimes 就是有时候。I sometimes have my coffee with a piece of cheesecake. 我有时候喝咖啡呢会配这个 cheesecake 起司蛋糕。Sometimes 就是一半一半，有时候。更少发生的事情啊，我们就可以使用 seldom， 中文呢就翻译为偶尔，偶一为之哦，不是很常发生的事情。I seldom have 2 cups of coffee in the morning. 我偶尔呢早上会喝2杯咖啡。最后啊，不曾发生的事情呢就是 never。I never drink my coffee with sugar. 我从来不加糖的哦，0%。OK， 不曾发生的就是 never。这些呢就是频率副词，希望啊你也记起来喽。
Welcome back. So that's Lee's mom. She works for a catering company. He lives with her. What about his dad? The article says Lee's father is a truck driver and spends lots of time on the road.
Lee 的爸爸呢，他是卡车司机，所以大部分的时间他都要在路上开车工作。
Yep, he's always got to drive around the country, making long trips, doing deliveries, that kind of thing. And maybe that was part of the reason why his parents divorced. Maybe it wasn't. What we do know is that Lee feels lonely and misses his father a lot.
那我们这边看到 lonely 这个形容词什么意思呢？ Let's take a look. Lonely 这个形容词啊，代表孤独的、孤单的。So do you feel lonely sometimes? 你有时候会觉得寂寞、孤单吗？那如果寂寞、孤单的时候，可以做一些什么事情呢？ What can you do when you feel lonely? You can read 可以阅读 listen to music 听音乐 watch a movie 看电影 or call your friends 或是打电话给你的朋友也可以。It's okay to feel lonely sometimes 有的时候觉得寂寞是正常的，是 OK 的。那单字例句给的是呢 Ken is often lonely because he has no brothers or sisters. Ken 时常感到寂寞，因为他没有任何的兄弟姐妹。
So here's a common experience, one that many people, including Lee, probably have. Ella felt lonely when she moved to a new school.
对，到新的学校。
Yeah, you don't know anyone, you don't have any
friends.
friends yet, you don't know who the teachers are or where anything is, so you would feel lonely.
那我们这边莉亚，她觉得很孤单寂寞，因为她很思念她的爸爸。
And we also find out that his father seldom calls or visits.
刚刚提到的频率副词这边出现的是 seldom， 当然也可以用 rarely 来代换，好，代表他的爸爸很少打电话或来看他。
So that kind of covers Lee's sort of problems, his family life, that kind of thing. And now we kind of think back to day one and his writing, his corresponding with Boyd Henshaw, the author, and we see Mr. Henshaw tells Lee to start writing in a diary.
Mr. Henshaw 他就建议 Lee 开始写日记。That's a good way to start writing.
Yeah, you can start by writing your feelings, what you think, and, break down that barrier between what's inside you and getting it on the page. And we see this helps him, Lee, understand his thoughts better.
帮助某人做某事，我们用 help 加上受词之后，接上 to 以及一个原形动词。那 to 多半都是省略的，好，所以你会直接看到 help somebody 后面出现原形动词，像是 Please help me do the dishes tonight. 今天麻烦帮我洗碗。那你会看到 help me 后面原形动词 do 出现。
Yeah, or we could say this nice pillow helps me get or helps me to get a good night's sleep. So this is helping Lee to understand his thoughts.
这里 thoughts 是个名词还是复数？我们来看一下怎么使用吧。 Thought 这边当名词用，代表想法、思想。那如果是个动词的话，它是 think 的过去式哦。好，那我们可以说呢，某个人突然想到，或是心中突然有一个念头、想法，那就是 a thought comes to one's mind。像是我们可以说 The thought just came to my mind. He might be lying to her. 我心中突然闪过一个念头，他可能在欺骗她。那想法有很多种，正面的、负面的，我们可以用 positive 或是 negative 来形容。那单字例句给的是呢 Mary is not happy and often has thoughts about running away from home. Mary 不快乐，并且经常有逃家的念头。
So your thoughts could just be what you think of something. What are your thoughts about this movie? What are your thoughts about dinner? Or it could mean those more deeper thoughts, what you're really thinking, you're feeling, what are you worried about or afraid about, that kind of thing. So we could say James often shares his thoughts with his best friend Alex.
那这里呢，我们说到写日记可以让Lee更了解自己的想法。
So, of course, Lee has got family problems and he's kind of got school life problems too. Now we know Lee just moved to a new city, right? And Lee just started at a new school and doesn't have any friends yet.
是的，就像 Pat 刚提到的，刚到一个新的学校，没有朋友，当然会寂寞、会孤单、会不适应。
But it's worse than that. It's not that he just doesn't know anyone, but there is at least one bad kid at this school who is, being nasty to the new boy. We see also a thief keeps stealing food out of his lunch bag.
Oh, because he always has good lunch. 那这里看到的 keep 后面加上 VING 表示动作的持续，像是我们可以说 The hungry baby kept crying. 饥饿的那个婴儿一直在哭。
Yep, they do that. And we can also say, if it keeps raining every day, I'm gonna go crazy.
没错，那这边一直发生的事情是有人 steal 他的东西。什么动作呢？我们来看一下。Steal 这个动词呢是偷窃、窃取，那它的三态是不规则变化，是 steal, stole, stolen. So for example, I saw a guy stealing that woman's money. 我看见一个男人偷那个女人的钱。那从某人那边偷走某物，就是 steal something from somebody. 像是 The student stole the bracelet from her teacher. 学生从老师那偷走了手环。那单字例句给的是呢 Someone stole my bike from outside my house. I'll call the police. 有人在我家外面偷了我的脚踏车，我要报警。
We could also say some thieves, that's people who steal things, some thieves got into our house and stole our TV. Oh no. So of course, if Lee is getting his lunch stolen, if someone keeps stealing his lunch, he's going to go hungry and he's going to feel sad. What a big problem. And we see in the article, Lee needs this to stop.
没错，Lee需要阻止这一切 but how?
That's a good question. So today we've set up all the problems in Lee's life. His parents are split up, he feels lonely, he never sees his dad, he's at a new school with no friends, and some guy keeps stealing his lunch. The only thing he's doing at the moment to help is writing down his thoughts in his diary. Will things get better for Lee? Will his life turn around and improve? We'll find out in day 3, but now we're going to go to today's review time activity.
Review time.
So let's review some of today's word power words in the form of questions and answers. First one was move. So did you move when you were a kid? And how was that? Do you remember it?
Yes, I did. I moved from 新店 to 板桥 and then from 板桥 back to 新店.
Okay.
Yeah, that's about it. Right.
Do you remember the experience? Was it kind of
But
weird?
I didn't go to a new school. I stayed in the same school.
Oh, okay. So it wasn't such a big change.
No.
Now, my parents moved when I was about 3 or 4 years old. And at this point, I don't remember that first house I grew up in anymore. It's kind of all gone. My earliest memories are kind of arriving in the new house. My youngest brother was born around the same time. It's about 3 or 4 years old, and that's as far back as it goes. So I don't remember the experience of moving particularly. So I guess it would have been kind of exciting, but also like, why are we leaving this house with my room? Are you going to leave all my toys behind? What about the cats? That kind of experience.
You might have had a lot of questions in mind.
I probably did. So what's our next one? We're going to review the word lonely. What do you do when you feel lonely?
When I feel lonely, I go to the gym. I work out.
Okay, that's a pretty good thing to do.
And that can kill a lot of time.
I bet it does. Yeah, you can watch stuff, listen to music. That's pretty fun. I almost never feel lonely. I think
That's good.
We kind of mentioned this maybe last month or a couple of months ago when we talked about that artist who liked to be alone. I am almost never alone. I have 2 children. Being away from them is sometimes a relief when I'm on my own.
Wait, you have 2 children now?
Yep, 5 minutes piece. You know, that's actually very nice. So sometimes I might like to go and feel lonely for just a bit, just for a nice change.
Just to have your alone time.
Okay, and then we've got our final word, which was steal. Steal, stole, stolen. Has anyone ever stolen something from you?
Not really. I've never had that experience.
Oh, okay. Well, just before I came to Taiwan, I took a trip to Barcelona.
Okay.
Lovely city, but like a lot of big cities in Europe, thieves are a problem, pickpockets. And I hadn't even, barely left the airport, and my bag was just slightly open as I was paying for a bus ticket. All my money, all my euros were stolen.
Uh-oh.
Luckily, not any credit cards, passports, ID, just cash. And luckily and sensibly, I had travel insurance. So I could get that money back later on. So I just needed to get some more money out from an ATM, go to the police station and tell them what happened. So in the end, it was not a big deal. But I got lucky. If you go to those big cities, Madrid, Rome, Paris, you do have to be pretty careful.
Yeah, I've heard a lot about that.
Okay, well, that's all the time we have. Join us again for day 3, and we'll find out what happens to Lee and does his life get better. See you then. Bye for now.
Bye.
Dear Mr. Henshaw, warm-up question. What are your parents' jobs?
Lee and his mother live in California, U.S. They moved to a new city after his parents' divorce. Lee's mother works for a catering business, so Lee often has delicious food in his lunch bag. Lee's father is a truck driver and spends lots of time on the road. Lee feels lonely and misses his father a lot. His father seldom calls or visits. Mr. Henshaw tells Lee to start writing in a diary. This helps him understand his thoughts better. Lee just started at a new school and doesn't have any friends yet. Also, a thief keeps stealing food out of his lunch bag. Lee needs this to stop.
Word power. Move. Move. As a child, I moved from Taiwan to Canada. As a child, I moved from Taiwan to Canada. Lonely. Lonely. Ken is often lonely because he has no brothers or sisters. Ken is often lonely because he has no brothers or sisters. Thought. Thought. Mary is not happy and often has thoughts about running away from home. Mary is not happy and often has thoughts about running away from home. Steal. Steal. Steal, stole, stolen. Someone stole my bike from outside my house. I'll call the police. Someone stole my bike from outside my house. I'll call the police.
认识字汇
Divorce. divorce, catering, catering.